Hey guys, today I'm standing in front of my 2004 Mustang GT, and we're going to be going over some of the cons of owning a 1999 through 2004 Mustang, which you might have seen my previous video called The Pros of Owning a 1999 through 2004 Mustang. If you haven't watched it, it's definitely worth a watch, just a couple videos back. But today we're going to be talking about the cons, and there isn't really any big single con, but it's a bunch of small things that you can look over. But let's talk about them.
Now, first off, we're going to take a walk around the car while I talk about the first item, which is the stock ride height. Now, my car has been lowered 1.5 inches, so what you're seeing is not going to be the stock ride height. And on grass, it's kind of hard to tell it's lowered due to the bumps and hills. But just imagine what you're looking at being 1.5 inches higher. The back right tire, I'll show y'all it real quick when we go around, is sitting pretty close to how it does on concrete. It's pretty close to this on concrete, but just imagine that being 1.5 inches higher. You know, that's going to be the fender sitting up here, and all these other wheels, you know, even though it's on bumps and uneven ground, all of them would be higher too. And so that's the first item on the list. But again, that can be easily changed. But everything costs money. So if you're just getting a stock GT, you know, you're going to have a high ride height. But that one can be easily changed. Next up, I'll talk about the trim around the headlights, which this isn't a high priority. It's pretty low on the list. Just an annoyance. But the trim over time starts to separate from the headlight, as you can see. Sometimes after you're driving, it'll pop up like that. It's pretty easy to just put it right back in place. As you can see, it does it right down there too. Now, the other side does it a little as well. It's on right now, but you see, just an annoyance. And while we're up here, I'll go ahead and talk about the hood scoop. Now, the fake hood scoop on these, I love the way it looks from the inside. You know, it looks mean. From the other angles, when cars pull up beside you or they see you in the rear view mirror, there's that awesome hood scoop, but it's fake. So no bragging rights there. And along with the side scoops as well, you know, you've got this awesome aerodynamic look going down the side, these lines going right into that aero side scoop right there. And again, just fake plastic. Now I'm going to open up the driver's side door. I'm going to show y'all the panel. Let me see if y'all notice anything. Y'all see that right there on the switch bezel? Now, most Mustangs actually do this of these years. My old Mustang did it on the forums. It's a very common occurrence of that door bezel switch. It just over time, you see, it just pulls out. Both sides do it. This side, as you can see, that door's not used as much, but it will pop out, you know, if you do it right. See that? But that's an annoyance with these cars as well. All right, so now I'm inside the Mustang and thought I would mention the seating position. Now, the seating position is a pretty common topic on the forums. A lot of people think you kind of sit on top of the car, as in that's what it feels like. For me, I'm not the biggest guy, so this is just about the perfect seating position for me. But if you're 5'10" or something, you're probably going to feel like you're sitting on top of this car. Also, I'll say the pedal positions. For me, whenever I first started driving these Mustangs, I had an old automatic, and it would hurt my right leg whenever I was driving. I had to switch my legs up every once in a while, you know, move it around in order to get comfortable again. But I've gotten used to that over time, and now this car feels perfect to me. I love the seating position and stuff, but I was just pointing it out as a con due to most people don't like the seating position. Now we'll talk about the shifter position as well. As you can see, if I'm just sitting here in my normal driving position, reaching down for it, it's in reverse. You can see my arms all the way extended. Going up to fifth, you can barely do it from this seating position. That's why the shifters are kind of curved from the factory to try to, what's the word I'm looking for? To try to give you a better grip of the shifter so it's not too far forward. But most of the time when I'm driving, I'll be actually leaning forward like this in order to get to all the gears. And back in reverse. While I was inside, I thought I'd mention both of those items at once. Now, I debated whether or not to put this next part in the video, but I decided I would go ahead and add it. It's not a super common occurrence, but it does happen from time to time, so I figured I'd go ahead and mention it. And of course, this is the 4.6, so the spark plugs are in the top. And the thing we're going to mention is it will occasionally shoot a spark plug out of the head. Now again, it's not a super common occurrence, but whenever it happens, it usually takes the threads with it. So it's not as simple as just, oh, the spark plug flew out, so I'm going to screw another spark plug into the head. Usually you have to get it repaired by a shop. And the correct way to do it, according to Ford, is to replace the head. But of course, there's many ways around doing that. Now, I will mention, back when I had the chems changed in this car, they went ahead and changed spark plugs while everything was off. And one of the spark plugs, I don't remember which plug it was, pulled the threads up with it, so they had to repair the threads in the head. Now again, actually the 04s, like my car, have more threads in the head, so it's a less likely occurrence. It's less likely to happen in an 04, but as you can see, you know, the threads came out with one of my spark plugs, so it does happen even with the 04s. I just thought I would mention it. If you get one of these, be prepared. It could happen to you. Alright, the last part of this video, I will talk about the comfort and drivability of these 99 through 04 Mustangs. And it's hard for me to add this as a con because I like rough riding cars, and most of my cars aren't very comfortable, and I like that about them. So I'm going to be talking about this from somebody else's perspective. And that, of course, would be these are not that comfortable. They don't ride very smooth. You know, you feel every bump you take in these. The steering is good, but it's not precise. The handling's all right, but it's not, you know, a new ZL1 track car or anything. It's, of course, not the fastest car on the road. You can get them really fast, and you can get them modded up to where they're fast. But again, this isn't going to beat a new Corvette or GT500 or anything. So depending on who you are, those can all be cons to consider whenever you're looking at one of these. You know, from the factory, these were about a 5.5 second 0 to 60, quarter mile in the high 13-second range with a good driver. You know, that's pretty slow by today's standards, but it's still fast enough to where most cars on the road aren't going to be able to touch you, but it's not going to be like you just blow them out of the water. You know, you go against a modern Civic, of course you're going to beat them, but by how much? You know, all these could be cons. But I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you like this car. I know I do. But thank y'all for watching. Please subscribe.